Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here, and I'm back with another Washington Commanders weekly stream. It's been a while, but wanted to do a little bit of, a little bit of a stream for you guys. It'll be a little shorter than usual, probably like 30 to 45 minutes, but should be a good one. We'll be recapping mini camp and talking about a bunch of other things. Any questions you guys have, I'll go ahead and answer them. Will just be me today, and we'll probably be fewer people just because I didn't announce it earlier. So. Just any questions you guys have, I'll go ahead and answer them, and comment down below any questions you guys have, and I'll be sure to answer those as well. What's up, Elias? So yeah, the Commanders finished their mini camp and OTAs. They're done with that. They have one more practice, and that will be Tuesday. Yeah, that'll be this Tuesday, where I don't know if it's considered OTAs or mini camp, but they're gonna have a practice, and then after that they are done, and they are, until training camp. So it's going to be like a 6-7 week period where there's not much going on. And hey, I'll have videos out for you guys every single day, hopefully almost every single day. And yeah, should be good. Let's see what's up, Will. And let's go ahead and get started and just talk about some of the biggest takeaways from training camp, some of the guys that have been performing well, and some of the guys that maybe haven't been performing as well, and then just talk about Sam Howell and some of the other guys as well. So some guys, and I did make a video kind of recapping who, balled out in camp. What's up, John Wick? So Chase Young was one of the guys that looked really, really good. He showed out from the jump. He was getting to the quarterback, putting pressure on Sam Howell, and technically not getting sacks, but, he was getting very, very close. And with they can't touch the quarterback. So normally he would have gotten a couple sacks, but, with, no pads and everything, and with it being mini camp, they don't want the defenders to touch the quarterback, which is smart. What's up, Michael? Yep, feeling better. Was a little bit sick earlier this week, pretty much fully recovered since Friday-ish. Brian says, itching to hear how Sam's doing. Been out of the loop for a while. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into that in a sec. I mean, Sam's been a little up and down. I've heard some great things, heard some, not concerning things because it's mini camp, but, he's definitely had an up and down camp. And that's what you expect from a guy that played one game last year and is still very, very young. And also in training camp or in mini camp, OTA, even training camp, these guys are playing a lot riskier than usual. And, just to see how the receivers are running things and kind of test things a little bit more. But Chase Young definitely looked good. And, hey, it just matters how he does in the regular season. So we'll see how that, goes. And then Emmanuel Forbes, another guy, he's been balling out. And I know people will still be like, oh, you didn't like to pick. Well, yeah. And first off, never said he wasn't a good player. Just wanted Christian Gonzalez, but we're moving past that. Doesn't mean I can't root for the player, because I'm have to root for him. Really want him to succeed, because if he does, this defense will go to another level. And so far, he has looked really, really good from all accounts. And even, we've seen some of the clips of the interceptions, the pass breakups. I mean, his break on the ball is very, very good. And, he had a couple pass breakups against John Dotson, Terry earlier on in, camp and OTA. So he's looked really, really good. And I think that, this next 6-7 week period between, mini camp and training camp will be huge for him and really help him kind of work on things that maybe he, isn't so great at, right now, because he, knew what to expect a little bit going into the NFL and going into OTAs and rookie minicamp and minicamp. But I think definitely getting that, these last few weeks, getting practice with these players helps him get a better sense of what he needs to work on. So now he gets 6-7 weeks and he's able to work on those things. And I think, it'll be very telling to see how he looks coming out of minicamp or coming into training camp. So that's what I'm excited for sure. Will says, are we on Hard Knocks this year? They haven't announced it yet, but a lot of teams don't want to be on it. But we're one of the teams that cannot, we can't deny being on it. I think it's going to be the Jets, though. as much as I think it would be cool for it to be here, and I would like it just because of all the access we would get in terms of like behind the scenes things. And I think it'll be the Jets though. They've got some more storylines with Aaron Rodgers coming in, and even the Zach Wilson, that dynamic, and just that's probably a little bit more of an interesting team than us, where we're mediocre, or we've been mediocre the last few years. And before that, we've just been bad for the last 20-ish years. But besides, maybe the ownership stuff is a little intriguing, interesting for some people. And David DC says, when are they going to sign our first two draft picks? Not sure. It'll happen. It'll happen soon, for sure. It'll happen soon in the next month or two before training camp. Not worried about it at all. Should not be an issue. Polo Style says, heard Sam had a bunch of ints. Yeah, he had some, I think 2 days ago, which was Friday, I believe, he had a couple interceptions, or it might have been Thursday, whenever the last training camp or mini camp session was. He had an interception thrown to Percy Butler and to Troy Apke. He also had some nice throws, a touchdown to Logan Thomas, I believe, to Jahan and Terry as well. So that he's been up and down. And that we'll get into the Sam Howell discussion now. So in OTAs, I think for the most part, heard some really good things. And the mini camp was a little bit more up and down. He had some really good days. He had some not so good days. And he had, the last day seems like he had some really good plays and then some really bad plays. So a little inconsistent. And you'd like to see, again, I feel like this is like understated how important it is in these next 6 to 7 weeks for these guys, especially these young guys, to work and see what they need to improve on. So this next 6-7 weeks is very, very important for Sam Howell to see his development, to see what he can work on, is the learning the offense and everything, because he's basically a rookie and he's got to learn a new offense, and everyone else is learning that same new offense as well. So it's unfortunate for him, but it's better to run an Eric Bieniemy offense than a Scott Turner offense any day of the week. So, it will take that. It's might be a little bit rusty in the beginning, and not rusty, but like it might be a little bit of an issue in the beginning in terms of remembering the offense and stuff, but it'll get better as the days and months go by. And I think he'll eventually get a grasp of it. Seems like a pretty smart guy. I don't think that's why he dropped in the draft. So overall, I kind of feel like what we've heard, how Sam Howell's done is what we expected. Not amazing, but not terrible either. And we've heard about and seen some throws that were really nice and that showed that arm talent that he has, that Taylor Heineke didn't have, that Wentz did have. But then we saw some of the things like that mobility and the accuracy that maybe Wentz didn't have, and maybe Heineke did. Accuracy is a little iffy for Heineke, but he did have it at some points and did have the mobility. But Sam Howell's a good mix of Heineke and Wentz. He has the good abilities of Wentz, or some of them, in terms of his he has good arm strength, good throw power, and that's kind of the good parts of his game that he has, that Wentz had. The height he doesn't have, which is unfortunate. And then Heineke, he's got a little bit more mobility and seems like a better leader than Wentz was, even though we had no issues here with Wentz. So that a little bit of a good combination there for Hal, and heard some good things about his footwork and how that's improved. I think he's been playing better than Heineke and Wentz were last year. And that's not saying much, but it's good to see that we're probably going to get an upgrade this year already. We'll see how he looks, though, in training camp. So just something to watch out for, how he looks in training camp versus now, to see the improvement, because he's a guy that definitely could have rapid improvement for the Commanders. And let's see. Other things, there's some ownership news that is starting to wrap up hopefully pretty soon. Dave and DC is asking another question. Make sure you guys go ahead and ask some questions. What are thoughts of our offensive line improvements this year? Is the talent there for us to compete for the East? Offensive line, I think it's better. Like center, even though Chase really is out, we got Nick Gates, who, if he's healthy, he's much better than what we had last year. Much, much better than what we had last year. But he is staying healthy. You know, he's only had one issue in terms of injury, but that was a pretty big issue. And you got Larson back there as well, and some other guys. But we'll see with Nick Gates. I think he's going to be an upgrade, though. I think Cosme will be an upgrade over at right guard over what we had last year. Wiley will be an upgrade at right tackle over Lucas. Sorry about that voice crack. Left guard, I have no idea. Who's going to – I think it's probably Sadiq at this point, but I don't know. I'm not confident in Sadiq. And then left tackle, Leno, I feel like he'll be a little bit better. Sorry. I think he'll be a little bit better than he was last year as well, because he was kind of dealing with some injuries. So I think the offensive line will be a little bit better, and the scheme will definitely help a little bit too. Do I expect it to be elite? No, not even close. Do I expect it to be good? Probably not. Average? Maybe. That's like the best I'm hoping for is average. Probably, though, they're going to be below average, which honestly, below average is a lot better than we had last year, which was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And I think Howell's mobility will help as well. So if we're in that like top 20 range, which is like slightly below average, do I want to be slightly below average? No, but you're going to be slightly below average or worse at some position groups. That's just how it is. Even the best teams are. So it would be good to not have it at O-line, especially when you're a young QB. You have a young QB there, but it is what it is. Eagles fan says Sam looks bad. Trash Sam. Y'all wins 5 games. I don't think so. I mean, hey, maybe we will, but I see us winning a lot more than 5 games. I'm not super optimistic about this season, but 8-9 wins, I think we should be able to get that. Rivera always finds a way to win some of these, meaningless games that we don't need to win at the end of the season, even if we're bad. And I don't know if we're going to be bad. Our roster, I think, is pretty good, besides QB, which is a question mark. I mean, running backs are solid. Receivers are very good. Tight end is a question mark. Not very good, but got some intriguing players there. And Cole Turner, maybe even Logan Thomas. Depends on how he's, still recovering from that injury. And then O-line's not so great. On defense, D-line's amazing. Linebackers aren't great. Safeties are great. Cornerbacks, I think, are going to be amazing. Like I think this secondary is going to be really good. So overall, I think that this roster is a very solid roster. Not top 3, not top 5. But I think, like, if you take out the quarterback position, this is a top – this is definitely an above – I think it's a top half of the league roster. I really do believe so. I really think it is. Like, I think we have a better roster than the Giants. Cowboys, I don't know about. And let's see, having some people over, so the dog might go crazy right now, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Dave says Howell looks really good, big arm mobility and lots of weapons. He's going to do great. Hopefully. We don't need great from him. We don't need we don't even need great or average. If we get below average play from Sam Howell, that's better than just terrible play from Heineke and Wentz last year. I mean, the quality of quarterback play we've had the last few years has been just really bad. So if we get, let's say, top 22 quarterback play, that's an upgrade over bottom 3 quarterback play in the league. It is. Let's just keep it real. So, and if he can do that in his first season starting, in his second year, he can do even better. Maybe you can, expect him to be average, like a top, in that 15 to 20 range. And then in that his third year starting, maybe you can ask him to be above average or elite if you really think he can get there. I'm kind of questionable if I think, he can get to that point, but we'll see. Rax says Caleb Williams season. I don't think we'll be that bad to get him. Honestly, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind being that bad to get Caleb Williams, because winning 7-8 games is not good. Is the worst spot to be in. Mediocrity is the worst spot to be in sports. Let's see. Eagles fan says this will be Ron's last year. I bet you I would probably agree with you on that. Just because of new ownership, like, would I be shocked if he's back next year? No. But I would probably say there's like a 20%, 25% chance Ron is back. Maybe a little bit more because Josh Harris did keep his head coach in Philly when he took over. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think, we'll see. I'll answer that question a bit. Yeah, Ron is as good as gone if Sam doesn't pan out, and he only has a year to see that. Danny says, do you think FedEx will be packed week 1? I think it will. I think it'll be pretty packed. It's first off, it's a season opener. Second off, Dan Snyder's gone, so more people will be there, and people are excited. That's a new era. So, yeah, I think it'll be pretty packed and packed with Commanders fans because the Cardinals are not good and they don't have a big fan base. And not only that, they're in Arizona, which is all the way across the country. So I think it'll be pretty packed and probably 80+% Commanders fans. Probably. I mean, it's super far away. The team's not good, and it's not a passionate fan base. It's not like the Cowboys or like the Chiefs, Packers, Steelers, or any NFC East division rivals. All those teams travel really, really well. The Cardinals, they don't. So, we'll see. Rack says, if Sam performs bad, how long till Brissett comes in? Well, I don't know. It depends on how bad he is. If he's terrible, or let's say if he's terrible, probably within 4 games, probably the same thing as Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace. After game 4, I think it was game 4, they benched him. So if he looks really bad, they might do that. If he looks bad, then I think it'll just have to do with their record. Because if they're winning, even despite him playing bad, might give him a little bit of a longer leash. I don't know. It's interesting, but Brissett's all right. But this team needs this coaching staff needs to win. So would not be surprised if they benched him early if he's really struggling. Ceiling 11-6, floor 4-13. Hey, I don't know. I mean, that's a very wide range, but I think a lot of people usually do very small ranges, which I kind of disagree with. They're like, oh, floor 7, ceiling 11, or ceiling 12, whatever. For me, the most I could probably see the Commanders winning is 11. I have a really, really hard time seeing the Commanders win 4 games. I really do. I would probably go with ceiling 10 or 11 and floor probably 6. I just don't see them winning, fewer than 6 games. I just really, really don't. So that's why that's kind of my situation there. Do you think Chase? Noah Washington says, do you think Chase gets traded before the season? No, I do not. Do not think they will trade Chase Young. Would probably put it at a 5-10% chance. Just do not think it'll happen. Yeah, I just really don't think it'll happen. The value is not there. If he has a really good year, or if he has a really good, let's say, first 8-9 games, okay, and we're getting to the trade deadline and he has 5-6 sacks, okay, teams are going to give you a couple first round picks and maybe even more. But if he's doing that, you probably want to keep him around because that probably means he's turning out to be what you thought he would be. So I don't think they should trade him. And if right now, whatever the value is, if it's a second, a third round pick, come on, just don't do it. Just don't do it. I don't think it makes sense. So for me, I'm keeping him and letting him ball out. If he doesn't, let him walk. Unless you know something that other people don't. In that case, go ahead and trade him for whatever you want, but it's got to be over a third because wherever he goes, he's going to get paid at least a little bit, and you're going to be able to get a comp pick, a third or fourth round comp pick. Pittsburgh wants Chase. Yeah, I saw a rumor about that. I mean, a lot of fans from other teams want him. Yeah, the schedule is brutal. This team on last year with last year's schedule, I would probably put 10 wins. I think they could win 10 games. Like I really do. Like if I'm gonna go, I'll look. Sorry about that. I'll look at the Commanders 2022 schedule and just go through those games and see which games I think we win with this team's roster and assuming they maybe make a couple adjustments. Like I think they beat the Jaguars, that's one. Lions, maybe in week 2, but we'll say no on that one. I think they lose to the Eagles still, probably still lose the Cowboys, who knows? And then they beat the Titans, who they lost to. They still beat the Bears. They still beat the Packers. They still beat the Colts. I think they beat the Vikings. They lost by 3 in that game. Taylor Heineke was a huge reason why. And I think that this team's a little better. This defense is a little better. So I'm going to give them a win on that one. That's 6. Still think they beat the Eagles. 7. Think they beat the Texans. That's 8. Still think they beat the Falcons. That's 9. I think they win at least one of those Giants games, man. I really, really do. I think they turn that tie into wins. So that's 10 wins. And then they beat the Cowboys last game of the season. That's 11. Like, I think this team is a lot is better than last year. And not only is it better, but a lot of these players are developing and getting better. And you didn't lose many players. So for me, I think, yeah, the schedule is brutal. So that's why I'm not going to go 10, 11 wins, but I still think they can win 9 games for sure. I think they can. Danny Wells says Brian Dable with Giants equals playoffs. Eric Bannon with Commanders equals playoffs, question mark. I hope. And then he can be a head coach here if he wants to. Do you think Cam Curl gets this money here? I think they still probably get it done, but bringing in Quan Martin definitely makes it a little bit less likely. Okay, I'll go ahead and put the 2023 schedule up and we'll do a little prediction here. Let's see. Present. Yeah, the thing is, everyone wants Chase Young. Eagles fan, let me know. I mean, because he says he wants Chase Young. What would you give up for him? Would you give up a second round pick? Just let me know. Okay, so it should be there on the screen right there. Go through the schedule. Beat the Cardinals. I think we do beat the Cardinals. I think we beat the Broncos. I think we lose to the Bills and the Eagles at Philly. I think we beat the Bears. I think we beat the Falcons. I think we lose to the Giants. Then what? Let's go win against Philly. Okay, Eagles fans a little bit mad there. That's 5. I think we beat the Patriots. That's 6. And then Seahawks, I think we'll lose one of those 2 Seahawks Patriots. I'm going to say a loss there. Did I say win or loss against the Giants? I'm going to go win there. That's 7. Cowboys, loss. Dolphins, loss. Rams, win. And then we'll win one of those last 3. I think 9. It's tough, man. It's really tough to predict with having no idea how, Sam Howell plays. So it's tough. I think we'll get 7 to 9, maybe 10 wins, but I'll go 9 right now. Be a little optimistic, but probably more, closer to 8. I think it'll be closer to 8 for sure. But let's see. Yeah, I think that's kind of it right there. You got some really tough games right here going against the Cowboys, 49ers, Jets. That's a tough, stretch right there. And Rams, who knows how good they're going to be, but they're going to be better than last year. That's not an easy game. And then the Dolphins, that's a hard game. The Cowboys, that's a tough game. The Giants isn't an easy game. Like this stretch right here, guys, is actually crazy. Like, I don't think the Giants are a good team, but it's not an easy game. Like none of these games are gimme games. None of them. Like the Falcons aren't a gimme game, but like we should win that game. The Bears, you should win that game. And then the Cardinals, you should win that game. Besides that, all the games are, kind of toss-ups or we're not favored by. But hey, Rivera finds a way to get up, a upset every once in a while. So upset the Eagles last year and, almost beat the Vikings. And, we we definitely beat some teams we shouldn't have last year. And we definitely lost some games we shouldn't have. That Titans game was brutal. Vikings game was brutal. It is what it is, though. Any more questions you guys can put in the chat. We're going to put away the schedule right there. Let's see. If you guys are new, please make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, that notification bell as well. On the road to 11K. I know someone here is not subscribed. We're really trying to get to 11,000 subscribers soon, so go ahead and do it. Please. It takes 1 second. Just hit that button right there. How do you feel about the offense this offseason? Do you think Sam will show out, or do you think this offense as a whole will crumble? I really hope it's not going to crumble. I think it'll be better than last year. It just, again, man, it's really hard to like predict how Howell's going to be, how he's going to do. You just really don't know. But hey, I'm really, really hoping he shows out. Danny Ball says, what if we still had Scott Turner? What do you think our record would be? For last year, I mean, with this team, I still think with Howell and with some of the upgrades on defense, still think we probably win 9 or 10 games. I really do. I think we definitely win more because Howell this year, I think, will be better than what we had last year. I think our O-line is going to be better. And then secondary is going to be better. Linebackers might be a little worse. We'll see. I don't know. Cody Barton will be interesting to see. And then, yeah, I mean, besides that, everything's pretty much close to the same. So I think this team would be, this team on the roster right now in 2023 is better than it was in 2022 in most ways. Like, I mean, I'm trying to think of what ways it isn't. Who do they lose? They lost Holcomb, Heineke, and I mean some guys like Cam Sims, but I mean they gained. Let's talk about the guys that gained. They gained Nick Gates. They've gained Andrew Wiley. They gained Emmanuel Forbes, Quan Martin, Cody Barton. Like, I think that outweighs what they lost, and they gained Eric Bieniemy. And I think a lot of these guys will get better and better. And you can say you gained Chase Young as well. With Washington getting a new owner group, do you see the name changing anytime soon? No, I don't think we're not changing the name. I mean, I don't, definitely not anytime soon. David DC says our defense could be beast mode if Chase and Sweat show up. Sam will do better than last year's team. Our defense is going to be good, but if Chase Young shows out and Montez Sweat plays a little bit better than he did last year and able to finish sacks, and our secondary looks good, this defense could be number one, maybe just number two behind the 49ers. But I really think this defense can be really, really good if Chase Young is able to show out. It just all comes down to Chase Young to get them to that elite level, like number one, number two, number three defense, because they're already in that top 10 for sure. I think better than that. But if Chase Young shows out, Montez Sweat shows out, and some of these other guys improve a little bit and step up, watch out opposing offenses. Rack says, do you think we've changed the culture of the organization? Yeah, I know we got rid of Dan, but I still think to become a consistent winning organization, more work needs to be done. I mean, more work needs to be done, but I think we're miles better than what we were before. Like, Ron isn't perfect, but he's a lot better than Bruce Allen was. And I know they're different, but Bruce did a lot of the personnel stuff and was one of the faces of the teams. He's gone. Jason Wright, he's made mistakes, but also at the same time, he's done some good things. He's more respectable than Bruce Allen for sure. And yeah, he's a really nice guy. So, have they been perfect? No, but I think, Ron's brought in some good guys and changed at least the football culture around. And I think they're trying to change the business side a little bit. But of course, more work needs to be done as always. You never want to stop improving. The best teams, businesses, people never stop improving. So, you still got to improve. Eagles fan says, yeah, we'll give you a 3rd round pick. See, that's, respectable offer. That's probably what the market value is, but I would not do it. Style says you have to change a team name, right? Not necessarily. I think Kime says they could just do a little bit, you do something to, a settlement or something to figure that out. Speaking of consistency, I heard Louis T say that he thinks his team is going to be more consistent all around. Do you agree? Yeah, it seems like there's some new energy, and I think it's Bieniemy, but I think the coaches are kind of changing their approach, and hopefully that will lead to, like, a faster start overall by the team, but in these games, like I don't want them, like they got to start out faster, man. They can't be down 21-0 and have to come back and then lose by a few points. Like that happens a lot, especially in 2020. Happened way too much when they were coming back. And it's cool to come back, but when you have to come back every single week, it gets to be an issue. So I'm going to stream for a little bit more, and then we're going to call it a day. A few more minutes. Got the NBA Finals tomorrow. Should be a good one. Hopefully the Heat win. I don't really care too much who wins the whole series. I'm kind of rooting for the Heat, but I want it to go a little bit, further. So rooting for the Heat in this game. What is it? 5, I guess. And I predicted Nuggets in 6, so also rooting for that a little bit too. So we'll see what happens there. But again, things to come the next week. We got practice on Tuesday, and then we got, that's really it. Maybe they'll, move on from some guys like Andrew Norwell. Maybe they'll sign some guys. Maybe an extension will happen, but probably don't see an extension happening. And besides that, I'll be posting videos, have a video on a guy that's been balling out this mini camp that I want to talk about. Hint, he's a defensive player who, that's not a great hint, but he played in the, I'll say, he played for Michigan. Okay, that's a hint. We don't have a ton of people in here, so if you're watching, go ahead. You know what? I'll just say Khalid Hudson. He's been balling out, so I want to talk about him and talk about the possibilities of him on defense. He's been looking really, really good, and want to give him his props for sure. Trying to get a few. I'm doing the best I can to try to get some guys on the channel. Could be any Commanders player, but just to talk about how they're doing this offseason and stuff like that. Toxic Tech says, what is your official record prediction without floor ceiling predictions? Okay, I'm really between 8 or 9 wins. I really am. I am going to be optimistic for now. Once the season is almost underway, after I see preseason, training camp, maybe they make some additional additions, maybe someone gets hurt, hopefully it doesn't happen, knock on wood, then I will make my prediction, and maybe I'll make it a little bit lower. But now, I'll say 9 and 8 is my prediction. It's a tough schedule, which makes it tough, but I'm really between 8 and 9 wins. It's tough. 8, 9 wins is kind of my prediction, but I'll say 9. Like 8 to 9 is what I'm choosing between. But just to be optimistic, before the season starts, I'll go 9 wins and they make the playoffs for the first time in 2 years. So hopefully that happens. Anuki, the shiny one, says Quan, Emmanuel, and Juice need to start. Kendall should be traded or cut or come off the bench. I could see that. You could have a little bit of a mix of Quan and Kendall Fuller or Juice playing, and just to get everyone in. And I'm not cutting Fuller. I'm probably not trading him either unless you can get some good value, because that depth is huge, because Benjamin St. Juice is injury prone. Like, I love the guy, man. Love him. He's a really good player, really talented guy, really great guy as well. But maybe I won't call him injury prone, but he's had a lot of injuries. And, this year, the thing he needs to prove is he can stay healthy. So if he gets hurt or if Forbes gets hurt, then Kendall Fuller can just come in and play at a pretty high level, or a pretty good level. So I don't think you should cut Kendall Fuller. But I think we're going to wrap it up there. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. What's up, Awesomeness Sports? Hit the subscribe button if you guys are new. Donate button as well would be really, really greatly appreciated. Last question. How many sacks do you see as D-line getting this season as a whole? Ooh, that's tough. So you're not counting linebackers or safeties. I'll go to do this. This is like so hard to do, because I really have no idea what Chase Young is going to get. I really have no idea. So I'll be conservative and say Chase, because I think if I go say Chase gets 8 sacks, like I think he'll get a little bit more, but I also could see him getting like 4 or 5 if it's a really disappointing season, or if he's dealing with injuries. But I also could see him 11 or 12. Like, that's a huge range. So I'm going to go like 8.5 for Chase, 10.5 for Montez. I'm going to go 8.5 for Payne, or I'll say 8 for Payne and 10 for Allen. And then For Darian Ridgeway, the rest of those guys will get like 8 combined. I think kind of like James Smith Williams and Casey Toole, they get a sack or two a season combined. And then you got for Darian, I don't see him getting too many, maybe a couple. Ridgeway, same thing. So and FAO bottom, maybe we'll get it like 4-ish. So that's kind of my prediction there. So appreciate you guys watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace, guys.